Tez Walker is eligible to play for North Carolina. I don't know how. I don't know why. Well, I don't know the real reasons. I know why the NCAA says he's eligible now. This was the kid who once upon a time transferred from a place where they never even played because of COVID, and he went to Kent State and ended up shining at Kent State, and then wanted to transfer to North Carolina, and did so a couple of days before the NCAA beefed up their transfer rules, and then they retroactively applied those rigid new rules to this kid, even with the rigid rules, he should have been eligible because he only played at one school, and they just said he's ineligible. And it took forever, and it was a joke. It was a joke at the time. It was a complete travesty of justice. I don't think I've ever used that phrase on this show, because normally talking about college football does not include things that rise to the level of needing to talk about a travesty of justice or a miscarriage of justice. It literally was with him. Except today, the NCAA reversed course, and they said, no, Tez Walker's eligible. I want you to listen to this. You're going to think I'm joking. You're going to think I'm making this up. I am not. I had Jesse print this out so you can make sure. Look, this is not my handwriting. There it is, Colin. It's not my handwriting. This right here is official, hot off the presses from Indianapolis, Indiana. Quote, I may throw up. Colin, just keep rolling if I start looking like I'm going to throw up. It is unfortunate that North Carolina failed to provide important information previously. While we must be careful not to compromise a student-athlete's right to privacy when it comes to sensitive issues, we want to assure the D1 membership and everyone watching how the new transfer rules are applied, that this meets the new transfer waiver standards. Here's my favorite part. North Carolina's behavior and decision to wage a public relations campaign is inappropriate and out of bounds of the process North Carolina's own staff supported. I'll beat that down like the piñata it is in a second. We continue. Had the North Carolina staff not behaved in this fashion and submitted this information weeks ago, this entire unfortunate episode could have been avoided. The people who put that garbage statement together actually shamed an institution for waging a PR campaign. This right here is the result of a focus group of nameless, faceless bureaucrat PR types. That's what this is. You hear that if you're listening on podcast. This statement is not worth the paper we printed it on tonight. It is garbage. These people's decision was garbage at the outset. They're not pissed that information was left out. They're not, because any institution that looks out for the betterment of student athletes worth its salt would have gone and sought the information. But that's not what they're about. The NCAA basically has two things left going for it. Okay, the one thing they have going for them is those four letters that meant something 20 years ago, and they can fool some people into thinking they still wield some sort of power. Number two, the NCAA has a handful of reporters that are still willing to carry water for them and serve as a de facto mouthpiece, and it was on full display today. That's the way that message got disseminated, and it's kind of gross. I've never been more honored than when the NCAA puts out a statement and it doesn't arrive in my inbox, because I know I'm not one of those folks. Trust me, that is a badge of honor you should wear in this industry. These people have no talent, they have no skill, they have no value. They're not out to solve problems. It's in their best interest to create problems, because if they solve the problems, their jobs would evaporate. There's no need for them. Basically, every issue you have with modern day politics and politicians, just copy and paste and insert here and, change a few institution names and player names, and that's it. The problems you have with politics are the same problems you got with the NCAA. Whether you know it or not, that's true. I want to read this one more time for you. This part right here is what just throws me for a loop. North Carolina's behavior and decision to wage a PR campaign is inappropriate and outside the bounds of the process UNC's own staff supported. These people are looking to cause problems. This statement is a perfect example of that. I spelled this out for you 2 months ago, and I'm going to spell it out once more. These folks want you to be dumb enough to start on chapter 5 of the book. Chapter 5 looks like this. The transfer portal's out of control, NIL's out of control, and member institutions, including North Carolina, including Mac Brown, begged the NCAA to do something. That's where they want you to think the story starts. Okay, so then they want you to believe they adhered to the requests of the North Carolinas of the world, and they put forth more stringent requirements to merit a transfer waiver. And then Tez Walker tries to transfer, and the NCAA denies it, and we're only doing what you guys asked us to do. That's called PR. That's called public relations damage control, because what they don't want you to remember is they're the reason for the mess to begin with. North Carolina didn't beg for an overhaul in the transfer portal rules. They didn't beg for the one-time transfer to all of a sudden be legal, no consequence. Mac Brown never asked for that. They don't want you to remember that part of the story. They just want you to remember the mess was there. It's like Big Bang, it's always there. And then they came in at the behest of North Carolina and the like, and we fixed it. Don't be mad at us for fixing the mess. I'm not mad at you for fixing the mess. I'm mad at you for making the mess. I do not watch you spill spaghetti all over the floor, and then you clean up the spaghetti and look at me and say, where's my reward? You made the mess, fool. Of course you should have cleaned it up. Also, the NCAA has always kind of been like a piñata, just swinging from the ceiling. Good on NCAA for swinging. They won't be the last ones to swing, nor was Tez Walker the last kid whose eligibility was just in limbo. For no reason other than losers at the NCAA will not take it upon themselves to carry out the whatever they want to call it, mission statement of that organization, which is the betterment and well-being of student athletes. Well, there are other names out there. There's still several other names who are currently not able to play college football. Tez Walker missed 4 games. It's like you'll never get that back. Are they going to grant him another year of eligibility? What if he doesn't want it? What if he goes and plays pro ball? You're talking about changing guys' lives on a whim, on technicality. You didn't dot this I, you didn't cross this T, or... And here's a wild theory I want to float here. Maybe no important information was left out. Maybe you got called by people who can match wits with your legal minds, and you realize, uh-oh, the side of our pants are wet all of a sudden. It's not raining. What is that? Oh, we know what that is. That's the feeling when we know we've been caught. So instead of apologizing, instead of being adults, dealing with an unemployed kid. That's not an employee, by the way. That's just a football player at a college. We're not going to apologize. We're going to tell them, you should have gotten it right the first time. In no merit-based world do any of these people have jobs. No merit-based world. But this is not a meritocracy. The way that they hire and place at NCAA headquarters is not merit-based. I can promise you that. You and me are on the street if we operate like that, as we should be.